I said I wouldn't watch it, and I'm watching it because why not? We already watched the first, so on, and I might even watch Perception versus Sensation.
Here's a clue about what happens after you die. It's easy.
I mean, yeah, all the stuff turns off in your brain, and then you just sort of fizzle out into nothing. But also not yet. You kind of can live for a bit after death and come back with your cognition being intact. But after that, if you stay dead,
To assume death feels like before we were born. Nothing. But why is it that so many people who have been pronounced clinically dead with little to no brain activity and come back to life don't report nothing? Many reports across cultures claim similar recalled experiences of death, like leaving the body, revisiting times of their life, feelings of peace and oneness, and sometimes an option to return. Now, while these anecdotes aren't good scientific evidence because they can't be recreated, or at least not ethically, we can't just
multiple movies regarding dying and trying to find out what happens and then getting weird responses. I'm not going to reference any, just go look up whatever, blah, if you want to, or don't.
ignore them all either. I mean, they challenge a very fundamental aspect of science, materialism. Materialism is the philosophy that all of reality is fundamentally made of only matter and its interactions. A materialist would argue your consciousness is not distinct from the brain, it is the brain, and if it feels otherwise, that's just an illusion. Now, before
Did we not already to have a different video where you talked about the information could also be everywhere and stuff, something? Which would mean that spiritualism is just as much scientific as not scientific.
we challenge this,
If it's real, which I don't even know.
just know that the materialist worldview has been the reason why science has been so successful in the last few hundred years. People once believed that diseases came from evil spirits or divine imbalance, but now we know it's from pathogens, inflammation, or just a poor diet. Materialism's an incredibly powerful philosophy, but it never
And also, we need to make sure that we washed our hands and did not like stuff with toilet, whatever, blah.
sat well with consciousness. Sure, we have a physical brain with neurons firing, but why is there a conscious observer to that brain? It's not.
The other question is, what happens to the organ donor who then takes a heart transplant or whatever else? I heard something about it. There was some weird transplant and memories were transferred. So that means that obviously there are some kind of like pathways of information that go from the heart to the brain so the heart knows what to do, but is there memories in the heart? And then what? And I don't know whether I think it's something. But I heard something to that effect, and I was like, I don't even know how to explain any of that. But it would mean that there is like some components of memories in tissues, which is what?
Something, there's a someone that doesn't just see a 450 nanometer wavelength of light, but rather feels blue. There is someone experiencing the experience. But here's our clue. It's a thought experiment. If we teleported you, would your conscious being come out the other end, or would it be a different consciousness? Think about it.
There's a lot of things that say that you would be destroyed, you would be gone. If you're made by new stuff, then you're definitely not you at all. And even if you're the philosophy of you could rebuild the person exactly as they was, would you be the thing that emerges? And the answer usually is it's a copy. Will Riker or Thomas.
This way, instead of teleporting you, we clone you, an exact replica down to the most fundamental particles of nature. I'm sure you'd imagine your consciousness doesn't split between the two. Despite being physically identical, these two brains would possess a different consciousness. So does that mean consciousness is distinct from physical matter? Maybe. And if so, what happens after we die? Well,
the continued consciousness and expression of that can be just stuff happening in the brain, but unless those actual processes continue with the thing that is going to become the thing in the other being, then you have a starting point that then just happens in two different individuals that then progresses. And yet I find myself to be myself, and I would not think of me as being the me that was someone else's me, but the me that is them would have the thought that they were the me that was me saying the me saying now that I'm saying now.
I don't actually know, and that's okay. I don't think we're meant to. But if this
It's kind of important to know it if we're going to do it, because the doing of the thing
is true, then my uneducated guess would be that our consciousness doesn't blip out of existence, but maybe returns to some greater whole. You, as an individual, will probably cease to exist, but something of you might just remain, maybe in a form that we can't recognize.
There is ideas that have come about that if you were to recreate all the other components of everything and re-understand all the different bits of how things progressed from one thing to the next, then technically matter reconstitutes from old matter and things. So like we breathed other people's farts from generations ago, or not breathed it in, but because not methane, but we breathed the stuff that makes that, like got into the eggs or whatever that we ate or something. Never mind.
The lessons from these near-death experiences aren't about death, but really about life. Many people return with an increased appreciation for life and a decreased fear of death simultaneously. Like, don't you think it's
The experience of, oh, I just died. Yeah, I am so freaking glad I still have moments that I can share with people. Oh crap, I wish that I could have died. And then it fades. It fades.
extraordinary that those two things can coexist at the same time? You
But then it fades.
get one shot at this life, so try and enjoy it, appreciate it, because you're doing fucking great, but you do need to get off your phone.
For everyone watching this on the computer, I salute you. Anyway, um, I don't hate it. Also, no notes, except for that. No grading. I don't care to grade this shit. Um, but referring back to the information field, which is an expansion of the depth thing, is like, yeah, it's one after another, and you think about
The real reason quantum particles arise from changing the particle's behavior. It's not so much knowing about the particle that changes its behavior, but the potential to know.
this whole thing gets into the hippy dippy stuff. When you go into the life and death thing, then you understand why things got a little.
Matter and energy of the universe are really just emergent properties manifesting from a more fundamental information field. As
Like,
famously put, it from bit. All
eh,
to know. The instant information exists about the particle, the universe in some unknown mechanism forces it to take a more...
eh. I already responded to this, so you can watch that. But anyhow, yeah, so there's ideas that kind of, you can see how it coincides with the previous video that we just saw. So anyway, blah blah blah. That's something.